everybody. Welcome to the Write or Die Show. I am your host, Randi-lee. On the show, we interview other writers and we talk about mental health from their personal journeys. If you have not already hit that like and subscribe button, go ahead, do that now so that you never miss an episode.
So you hit it, right? You hit the like and subscribe. Yeah, I know you did. We are so close. I mean, at the time of this recording anyways, we are so close to hitting 260. We have been sitting at 259 and it's driving me crazy. Just click that little subscribe button. But hopefully by the time this is actually airing, we will have surpassed that. So go ahead and click it again anyways. Well, not click it again because then you would unclick it, but like tell other people to click it. You know what I mean. You know, you feel me. So with us today, we have Rich LaMonica. Hello.
Hey, Randy, how are you?
I am pretty good. How are you?
Doing great. It's not freezing today, so it's awesome.
Oh, it's freezing here. Can I come to you? Where are you?
I'm in Tennessee.
Okay, yeah, that sounds warmer than here. I don't
Where
like
are you
it.
at?
I am in Southern Ontario.
Oh, yeah, it's probably cold there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not nearly as cold as like Northern Ontario. I would never ever move there. It's freezing there, but it's cold enough for me here. I don't like it. I don't like the cold. We've talked about moving to the warm, my husband and I, but I don't know. It's a lot of work to move. I'm pretty comfy. I finally have my garden exactly the way I want it. I mean, come the spring when I can replant it again, but it's just the way I want it finally after like 10 years of living here. So I don't know. It takes a long time to get a house just right.
And that's usually when you move out, so that's the perfect time.
No! But then maybe I could purge a whole bunch of stuff, get rid of a bunch of stuff, because you always accumulate so much of it.
Yes, too much.
Right? So enough about that and the thinking about this beautiful, beautiful weather. Tell us a little bit about who Rich LaMonica is.
Well, I was born and raised in New Jersey. I joined the Army in 1993 and served for 22 years till 2015. I retired in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and I moved just right outside Fort Campbell, Kentucky to Clarksville, Tennessee to spend the rest of my time with my wife, who now of 30 years, we're empty nesters. We live with our four-legged kids who they dominate the house, of course.
And, who are they? Sorry, we have to discuss this more.
All right.
Who are they? What are they? Share.
All right, I'll start from biggest to smallest. So our biggest one is Enzo. He's a lab. He's 94 pounds. We rescued him in 2019. And then his next brother is Scooter. He's a Whippet and King Charles mix. We rescued him in 2015. And then the next in line is Yogi. He's a lab and pointer mix. Rescued him in 2019 as well. And then our smallest is Ziva. She's a Corgi and lab mix.
Oh, I love corgis. And I love labs. So the combination just sounds fantastic. I mean, I love all puppies. Hence why we have to discuss that.
You have to stop right there.
Yeah, I want to know nothing else until I know about these guys is the most important thing. Definitely. Well, I mean, we have 3 dogs. And a bunch of cats. And they have their own TikTok. So whenever I hear somebody, oh yes, they are amazing. I'm not the greatest at consistently posting, but they are adorable. So when I recall to do that, when I remember that. So whenever I hear somebody say that they got some furry loves, I'm like, I need to know who they are.
Yes.
Anyway, so you can continue about who you are now that we know about you.
You're gonna make me stop in another second again. And my daughter and her husband live across town with our 3 4-legged grandchildren. So and the oldest one is Bambino Corgi, and then Bella is a Shiba Inu, and then Bria is also a Corgi.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I have never met a corgi in real life. I've just seen them on like movies and YouTube or whatever. But they're so stinking cute. I mean, all puppies are cute, but they have that like little waddle,
Yes.
the little butt waddle. Actually, my beagle has the little butt waddle too. She's funny. She always has that little shake to her because she's very long. She's very long. We actually thought when we first got her, we thought she was a beagle mix wiener dog.
Oh wow.
She is not. She is beagle and hound dog. But
wow.
she's probably half the size of your typical beagle and so long. Like everybody that sees her thinks that she's part wiener dog, but nope, we tested her. We got the DNA and nope.
We know what she is.
Exactly. But she definitely looks like she would have it in her. So I don't know where that came from, but she's got the little waddle because she's got the long body.
That's
all right.
outstanding.
So there's lots of fur babies in your life,
Yes.
And some kids.
One daughter, yes.
Yeah, okay. Anything else that we need to know about you?
Started a podcast of my own in 2021 because I had nothing else to do after I finished my master's degree. So I had about 8 hours of my day, 8 hours of my week. I had nothing to assign to. So I said, why not do something that takes 30 hours of my week? So I started a podcast.
I love that.
And since then, I had the podcast, so it's 3 nights a week live, Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. I wrote 2 books and started my doctorate pursuit in that time as well. So currently in my dissertation phase of my doctorate.
Wow. What are you doing it for?
Homeland Security.
Oh, I didn't know you could get a doctorate in that. Very cool.
Thank you.
What kind of stuff do you learn? Like, what are the courses for that?
A lot of criminal justice studies led up to it. And then as you get towards your focus point, you just look at what's going on within Homeland Security around the world and how you can make it, better.
Oh, very cool. Especially in this crazy climate we live, but we're not going to go there.
Yeah.
So let's talk about mental health instead, because it's a much more fun topic.
Yes, it is.
So I always like to say, just start your story where it makes the most sense, and I'll just, like I've already done, I'll just pop it.
All right. So, like I said, I was in the Army from 93 to 2015, and when 9/11 happened, the career kind of flipped, went from kind of just train to war for the rest of my career. And you see a lot of bad things when you go to war. You see a lot of bad things in training. Accidents happen. You see people get hurt. And when you go to war, you go to war, your family stays home. You come home, they look at you and say, hey, you're different. And I said, no, I'm not. That was 2001. I said I was not. 2003 and 2004, I said, no, it's you. It's not me. You're different. I'm not different. And I was, I could tell I was getting angrier. I was getting more distant from them. Yeah. But never did I ever point the finger to me until 2010-11. I went to Afghanistan, came back, and one of my soldiers was killed on December 31st, 2010. And that's when I first realized I had issues at that point right there. And I took care of everyone else around me, made sure they were good for the rest of the deployment, but it did not get help for me. We got home and...
Very common. So, sorry. Were you the sergeant then? Because you said one of my soldiers. So were you the leader? Okay.
I was the platoon sergeant.
Okay.
So when we got home, you go through something called reintegration, and you go through all these stations, and there's a mental health person there. And they said, all right, Sergeant, what's wrong with you? Got anything? I said, yes, I need to get help. I know something's wrong with me. I need to get help. And he just looked at me and said, you're a leader. Go back to work. So I went back to work, and I went back to war the next year, and I was not in the right mental headspace when I went back to war, and along with a lot of my team. A lot of our team had been in the first Afghanistan 10-11, and we're right back in 12, and we didn't get enough time to, I guess, recondition ourselves or come home really. And we were right back in the fight, and our heads weren't right. And I like to tell everyone I was negative Nancy going into it. I was negative Nancy. I knew it was my 4th deployment. I knew I was going to die. I knew this was it, because that's when all my friends died, the 3rd or 4th deployment. I've already tested fate. I tested fate too many times. It's their time to get me. And sure enough, my 3rd day on our combat outpost, a mortar hit behind me, went through the back of my leg and out the front.
Oh, and my goodness.
That's when I woke up. That's when Negative Nancy went out the window, and all of a sudden I was back to being who I was before December 31st, 2010. I was a hard charger. I got evacuated, had surgery, and asked to go right back to the fight. Went right back to the fight, stayed there until our deployment was over. Went home, knew I still wasn't okay. And again, I asked for help from the Army, got nothing. 2015, I retired. The Veterans Affairs rated me high for PTSD. They gave me a TBI, traumatic brain injury, traumatic brain injury, concussion syndrome, CTE. Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you said TBI, and I was like, what? No, TBI. That makes more sense.
Way more sense, yeah.
Right? I'm like, what did I miss?
And then the VA, I went there to get help, and I was challenged by a person in the hallway, and I kind of went from 0 to hero and on the anger meter, and I got escorted out and told, your appointment's over. So I had to seek help outside, and I found help from a civilian doctor, Dr. King Counts, and he did EMDR on me.
Oh.
And that helped me tremendously, that and getting my dog Scooter. So Scooter came in 2015, and he would always come to me. I didn't realize why he was coming to me all the time, sit next to me, because he can tell when I was getting angry, and sit next to me and just like rub into me or hit his paw on me to make me pet him in the perfect spot. So it has to be the perfect spot for him. He's very bougie like that. But,
I love it.
And I didn't realize that's what he was doing. He was trying to help me and like kind of recenter me on his own, and without training, with nothing. And he just tried to help me. And him and King Counts kind of refocused me and got me back to center. And I still practice those things that I learned from Dr. King Counts. And then just this past weekend, I went to something called the Be Resilient Clinic, put on by Shield of Faith Missions down in Tampa, Florida. So for 5 days, we dug deep into our physical health, our mental health, our spiritual health, and our social health, and trying to make sure all of them are on the right trajectory. And I knew after 2010, my spiritual health was gone. I let that go completely. I lost faith in a lot of things, and there was no reason for that except for anger. And this weekend kind of helped me come back to that center point.
Oh, that's awesome. Animals are amazing.
Yes.
Like, I know we can train them to do great things, but they are amazing without the training. Like, they just have this innate sense about them.
Right.
Especially dogs, but I think all animals do. I was just watching a Facebook reel about this girl who used to ride horses when she was little. She got in a car accident as a teenager, so she was put in a wheelchair, and she's like, I'll never ride a horse again. I don't want to even look at a horse then, because she was just so upset. And then later she realized, okay, well, this is my life being stuck in this wheelchair, so I'm gonna have to deal with it. She found this horse, and horses, my husband likes to call horses giant death machines. Okay. Because they are very big and they can be very scary, but I got him on a horse once in his life. He's never going back on. So, but this girl found this horse that wasn't scared of her wheelchair. So it was like an electric wheelchair. Wasn't scared of the wheelchair, which some horses would be. And the horse would just, every time the horse was scared, they would come over to her. And they would just walk beside her chair. And it's just like, animals are amazing. They're just amazing, because she's like, she was just saying how it basically changed her whole life again, because she was able to do the things she loved again. Yeah, in a different way, but animals are just, they're so amazing. So I wanted to share that because I saw that today, and it was like really inspiring, because I love horses very much. Like, I ride them all the time, and I don't know how I ended up with my husband who is scared of them, but
definitely not at a horse park. So.
No, definitely not. And so when you were talking and you were sharing your story, which every time you said, I finally realized I need help, and I asked for help, and they said, no, you're fine, go back to work. Or not necessarily you're fine, but you're a leader, go back to work. I want to cry for you. I want to cry for everybody that gets told that, right? Like, it's absolutely sickening that you're saying, I need help, but you're being told, nope, you don't.
Yeah. by a professional.
Right? I think that's what makes it even worse, is that it is
Right.
a professional who's saying it to you when clearly you know what's going on up here. They don't, right?
Right.
It's not like you can see it where my grandson's crying and I go, and he goes, I need a Band-Aid. And I go, babe, you're not bleeding. I will give you a kiss better, but you're not bleeding, right? You don't need that Band-Aid, right? You're okay. Mental health is not the same as that. You cannot see it. You have to trust what the person is saying. So, when professionals say you're fine, or however they want to word it, but basically saying you're fine because you can go back to work, it just breaks my heart for the people that are saying I need help, because a lot of people, luckily, you still sought help, but a lot of people won't. They'll go,
Right.
okay, I don't need help then. And then they go and something much more terrible might happen.
Or they go into a self-care procedure, which isn't good. Alcohol, drugs, or adrenaline, something adrenaline based, like high-speed racing or something like that. And
Exactly.
then that's a different way to end it. So
Exactly. And in certain cases, like you talk about high-speed racing, that could also end it for other people.
Yeah.
Right? It becomes dangerous not just for the person, but for those around them as well. And it breaks my heart to know that people are still, professionals are still ignoring what somebody is asking, and it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
So you said that you learned some really good coping strategies that you still use. So what are those? What are your faves?
So my favorite is to go into a dark room and just breathe, like meditate, and refine me. If I really feel myself going way off that deep end, I have to stop, basically stop and just close off and get in that dark, cool place and do some breathing exercises and come back. Another thing would be hiking, or I used to run a lot, but my knee doesn't let me do that as much anymore. So walking or hiking, getting out into the woods and just escaping, getting away from whatever that thing was that got me going off, to just come back to here and be good with me, my wife, and the 4 hellions in the house.
Oh, you mean the 4 sweet babies?
Oh yeah, that's them.
Yeah, I know. My husband always calls the puppy. So he is 3, so he is still a puppy, but he is a shepherd husky, so he's big.
A lot of energy.
So much energy, but he is my sucky baby. But to my husband, he's like, "Oh, why are you doing that?" And I'm like, "'Cause he's just a baby."
I'm sure to make him happy.
Oh, and I'm sure that's why he is my sucky baby, because I never get him in trouble. Doesn't matter what he does, you're not in trouble. I just love you.
You're such a good baby.
Yeah, he's the goodest boy. That's what I always tell him, that he's just the goodest boy.
My wife's the same way. One dog can't get in any trouble. That's Yogi, the lab pointer. That he can do nothing wrong at all. Everyone else is in trouble but him.
Oh, that's so funny. Yes, our lab, he is the goodest old man because he is 12, and he can do no wrong. And he's the funniest thing. I know this is a little off topic, guys, but too bad. He has gotten very stubborn in his old age. Okay, so 12 is very old for a lab.
Yeah.
It's around their life expectancy. So my husband always tells me to prepare myself. I'm like, he's living forever, actually. So,
He'll never leave us.
Yeah. So you could, but lately he has been, if he doesn't want to go outside into the backyard, you say, okay, go outside, go in the backyard, because he hasn't peed in a while. So it's like, dude, like, you gotta go outside. He will literally lay down, roll onto his back, put his feet up, kind of show his teeth. Like, his teeth are all like, he has them. They haven't fallen out, but they've all like graded down.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's not allowed to have hard bones anymore, which makes him very sad, but he still gets lots of cookies. But he'll roll over and he'll kind of smile at you. He doesn't growl. He smiles with his teeth. And he's like, I have to go outside, really? Are you sure? And I'm like, oh my gosh, serious? Fine, stay inside. Like, what are you even doing? Oh, he's just the funniest thing. And then, so what would happen if you're, finding a quiet place, doing some meditation, easy to do at home.
Right.
But what kind of strategies do you have when you're out?
Like at work here, I have a separate room like I'm in right now, so I can
Okay.
just come in here. And if it's that kind of day, I just turn the light out and just sit here, stare at the
Nice.
wall. So we have enough room in this building for both of us. We're both veterans, and we both have the same kind of issues. So,
Oh, perfect.
so we play off each other a lot, and we know each other's triggers. So we know if one of us is having a bad day, we'll just stay away, or we'll try to tell them just get out of here, do something else, and
Yeah.
or try to slap us both back to reality.
Yeah. That's so good. It's so important to find other people that understand so that you can be like, I just need to go over here and just
Right.
That can be a tricky thing all on its own to find somebody who can understand that.
And relate to what you're going through, yeah. So.
Yeah, hugely. So how long did it take from when you said I need help to actually being able, so let me reword this. How long did it take for you from when they canceled your appointment? Because you clearly very much needed it, but stuff happened. To when you were able to find somebody else. How long did that take?
I want to say that was 3 months. It was a 3 month period in that period. And then the care with Dr. King Counts lasted probably 5 or 6 months straight.
Yeah.
I forget how often it was. At first it was like every week, and then it kind of spread out a little bit.
Yeah.
So, because I'm just trying to wrap my head around how people can go, all right, you're coming to see this doctor because you need help. But the help that you need is preventing you from coming in here because it was an anger issue that happened. Right. So you go and be angry for another 3 months and go find your own help.
Right.
Yeah, that tracks. That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, just trying to wrap my head around how any of that would make sense instead of being like, hey, maybe we need to try this again tomorrow because today you're not in a good talking.
Or maybe I can take you to another hallway and talk to you in
right?
one of these
Exactly.
empty rooms. Yes.
Right? Like something else, not forcing the person that needs help to then wait months.
Right.
Or potentially not finding help if you didn't go and search for it yourself.
And that's thanks to my better half too. She knew I needed it, even though when I finally admitted it was me, not her. And she knew that if I was asking for help, I needed help. And so right. she was pushing me to find something, and I found it, and she was more than happy for me to go.
Good. I just think it's so important that we talk about these issue areas that could be fixed. Like if somebody's asking for help them. The more
that's a strange concept.
It really is. That's why we have to very specifically say it and not beat around the bush, because apparently it's a very hard thing to grasp.
Yes.
So I think it's so important that maybe eventually the right person will hear that message and say, oh, well, that's an easy fix. Because lots of people like to talk about the mental health crisis, especially when it comes to veterans and PTSD.
Yes.
People love to talk about it. And how can we fix it? Well, here's an easy step one. Let them actually see and talk to the doctor.
Yes. And it's a lot better now than when I only got out 9 years ago now, and it has gotten exponentially better since then.
Good.
Because they have kind of, I guess it's a whole care team, a whole person team in each unit now.
Good.
So you have your mental, your spiritual, your physical health all right there. They watch you, make sure you're doing great things. The only component of the 4 would be social. That's not there, but that's really up to you to be social and kind of get outside your comfort zone. If you're an introvert, get out there and just make it hurt a little bit that day and talk to people.
Yeah, that's amazing. As my kid would say, oh, that feels like work. And I go, well, life is work.
It's going to work forever.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that. But yeah, I think, there's always going to be more progress to make, but that is so good to hear that it has changed over the years.
Yes.
So good to hear that.
So I always like to pose a question to everyone, kind of based on our conversation. So what piece of wisdom would you give to a soldier coming back?
When you come back, breathe. Things are not going to be the same as they were when you left. Remember, you were gone for X amount of months or however long you were gone. If you had a family at home, they kept living. Whoever was home, whether you're the male, female, whatever partner was home, they're in charge, and let them be in charge and let them do their thing. You just come and be, I guess, you'd be like the vice president at that point. They're the president, you're the vice president, and let them do their thing. And when they ask you for help, jump in and do it. And don't say, oh, you've been doing it this long, you got this. Because they're overwhelmed as much as you are coming home, but they don't want to give up that reign either, because it's comfortable to them what their process was and that checklist they did every day to make sure not just your house, but your kids are good, your dogs are good, all the bills are paid. All you're doing your job, and they want you to focus on that while you're gone. Now, when you come home, you focus on them.
Oh, that is amazing to hear. Yeah, because that's something that I don't think a lot of people think about, is that when you come back, it's not how it was before you left, because things have changed. Somebody that at my day job, her daughter's boyfriend is about to go away for however many months it is for his whatever thing, like in the army. Well, I don't think he's going to war, so I can't say that, but like he's going
Training?
to base training. I think he's already done his basic training, so he's going to whatever base to do his set of however many months it is before he comes back. And they've talked, like the daughter and the boyfriend, they've talked about it a lot because they're pretty solid, right? Like they're planning on moving in together when he gets back and things. And it's going to be interesting when he comes back, not in a bad way, but just in a getting to know each other again way.
Yes. It's an adjustment every time.
Yeah. And I don't think I've really thought about it too much before, because I've never had to experience it. But yeah, I think there's something to be said about when they're coming back and giving space and breathing. You really got me thinking. My wheels are turning right now. That's why I'm talking so slowly. My wheels are turning and thinking.
I can see it buffering in there. So.
I know it does that a lot. Okay, so unless you have anything else to say on this topic before we kind of move on to what you've written.
No, I'm good. Yeah.
All right, so what's going on in the writing / podcasting world for you? Because I want to hear more about that too.
All right, so the podcast is The Misfit Nation, all one word, Misfit Nation. If you do 2 words, you're gonna get an East Indian guy that raps. So it looks a lot different than me. So you'll know right away. I kind
of want to try both.
I've listened to his a bunch because people kept saying they kept finding us. So I might as well listen to him. So I listened to it. So it's pretty good. He hasn't done a lot of new stuff in a while, but it's still pretty good.
Nice. And he gets all this free publicity from you. It's great.
Yes, and a lot of my likes go to him, so it's great.
Like, well, hopefully he does the same thing for you.
I hope so. I don't know if he does, but I do get people from East India, the East Indian region, on my show. They comment on it when I'm live, so it might be from him.
There you go. Who knows?
So it's like reciprocity, I guess. So it comes back and forth. So. Right now, we just did our 467th episode, I believe. We just recorded.
Ooh.
So we're into season 5. So each calendar year is our season. So we just started the season now. I started recording season 5 probably in September, though. So.
Amazing. Yeah, we're over 200 episodes. So you got me beat by a little bit.
They're all good humps to hit, though. You hit that 100. Yes, I did it, because most people in this career or this hobby, or as some people do it, last 10 episodes and they're done. This is too much. Yeah, I mean, you got a whole soundproof room there. It's pretty awesome looking.
I love it.
I don't have all that home, so my wife will let me do that to the room, but
it took me a long time, so I had to wait until at first my mom moved out. She lives with us again, but my mom moved out. But I still had to get rid of my oldest kid. So get rid of sounds
Get rid of
her. She's 21 now, though, and she has a 5-year-old. All right. So I had to get rid of her and my grandson, although at the same time, I'm like, you guys don't have to leave because like I love hanging out with him every day.
Not you,
Although
but him, yes.
right, it's being a grandparent is the best. Being a parent is stressful. Because you have to actually have rules and teach them things. As a grandparent, I'm like, oh, you want cookies
You
for
got
dinner?
it.
Okay, we can have cookies for dinner.
Yeah,
You want to stay up all night? Okay.
put this candy in your pocket so when you go home you can eat it.
Exactly. Oh, you want this loud toy? Sure, Mummy's house would be a great place for it. Right? It's great. It's totally different. But yeah, so once they moved out, and so then there was some extra space. I was like, it's my office because I was in the basement. It's very echoey and very cold. So yeah, now I'm like, no one can come back. This is my office. You guys can't have it. But of course, if she needed to come back, I would obviously give up my room. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully she doesn't though. But yeah, so I got it. It takes time before you are able to get the room all to yourself if it ever happens for you. Hopefully it does.
Yeah, I have the upstairs bedroom now, so I'm moving into our bonus room slowly. As long as I do all her checklists before I move in there, then I'll be all right.
Perfect. You got this.
I just have to do the whole checklist and make sure everything's perfect. So
that's fine. As long as you have the list, it will be great.
I'll mess it up somehow and it'll be a new list. So I know, but I'm ready for it.
As long as you're ready, that's all that matters.
Oh, definitely. And
so
within the show, I started it basically for the same purpose, to get veterans to come on, tell their story, so they'd stay with us a little longer. They'd be able to breathe, get that off their chest, everything they've done. And because at that time they were broadcasting 22 veterans a day were killing themselves. That number's actually about 44 a day that we lose to suicide. Just the ones that they count as suicide, as we talked earlier. There's some adrenaline things that happen that they don't count as suicide, that are suicide, or drug overdoses. That's suicide as well. And so my goal was to save them that way. That was my little thing I could do to help my brothers and sisters.
Yes.
And they said, this is great, brother, but we need help with other things. We need other mental health tools. We need to learn how to write books. We need to learn how to get to Hollywood. We need to learn how to start businesses. It's all right, challenge accepted. So I just started reaching out to other podcasts, like Podmatch going on there, and started to put what I wanted, and people just start diving in. And that's how I got so many guests. And I actually branched now. So I do Sunday and Thursday. And then my brother and my coworker here, Jake, they have a show called The Tuesday Crew on Tuesdays, which I just produced that one.
Amazing. That is fantastic. And how did you come up with the name?
The Misfit Nation came from my platoon in 2010-11. We were called the Misfits. So we just stayed together, and I asked them, I said, is it all right? I said, heck yes, aren't you do it? It's Misfit Nation, and the rest is history.
Oh, amazing. I love that. Because finding the right name is so important. I mean, having the right everything for the podcast is important, and, getting that over that 10 episode hump, like you said.
That's huge, yes.
Yeah, but finding the right name, because you want it to stick in their heads. Right. And you want it to be meaningful. So I like that. I love that. 3 episodes a week. When I first started the show, I was doing 2 episodes a week. But I have bills to pay, so I do 1 episode a week now. Although I'm starting to do a little bit more. So remember how I said I just did an interview before you? So my 9:30 interview that I just did, we were live, and then I have a recording that I'll release later. And I'm trying to get back up to that 2 episodes a week, because I just think it's such an important topic.
Yes.
It needs to be out there more, just like your show. It's such an important topic, which I love that you're able to do multiple episodes a week. But some of us aren't sort of retired.
Sort of.
Well, with all the things that you're doing and working towards a PhD and stuff, you're not really, but you're sort of.
Sort of. Very sort of. Yeah.
Yeah. You're still working and stuff, but you're not going off to war again, which was your main job for 22 years. Right.
Definitely. So it's a big difference.
Exactly. So what have you written? You said two, was it 2 books?
2 books, yeah. So the first book is the 13-Step Guide to Success.
Oh,
And that
very cool.
came out just before the podcast launch, actually. So we're actually the end of that year. So my daughter, during COVID, that first year of COVID, I was just being a smart butt on Facebook, and each month I'd write, "Oh, you survived this level of Jumanji. Now next month these challenges will happen." Each month I'd send that post, and then in December I just put the 13 things you did great. The 13 steps to move forward. And she said, "Dad, you need to put that in a book." And she had just published. She published a book right out of high school called The Unexpected.
Amazing.
Called
Sorry,
The
the
Unexpected. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
that? Just The Unexpected. I like that.
Yeah. And it's by LaMonica. And she said, "Dad, you need to write it." So I wrote it. She edited it. She was editing, how'd you say it? Like Bridezilla, but for editing side. But she was,
Oh my.
and that came out December of 21. It won an award 2022 for best self-help book. Best self-help book with the business books and such. So I was doing well. And then in September 11th, 2023, this book came out, Out of the Darkness. This is a fictional novel. It's based off a soldier at war. It starts off with him at war and then goes through his time in the battle and coming home and fighting that mental health crisis and seeing how everyone within that platoon and his team went through it different ways. Just like we talked, some people will go off the deep end with alcohol and this and that, and one finally gets help, and that's how that book goes.
Oh, amazing. That book sounds fantastic. Well, both of them do, but just that one because it's exactly what we were talking about.
Right.
Where do people get them?
Both are on Amazon.com, or they can go to my website, themisfitnation.com. It's underneath our store.
Oh, perfect. And where do people follow you and listen to your podcast?
Themisfitnation.com is a perfect spot to go because you can click there, subscribe to whatever platform you listen to podcasts on, as well as our YouTube as well as there. So you hit our YouTube, it's youtube.com @the_misfitnation. And we're live Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And then we release a recording Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh, so you actually do 5 episodes a week?
Right. Yeah.
Holy moly. I was giving you credit for 3. Why didn't you interrupt me and tell me it was actually 5?
I let you go.
But now I've been wrong this whole time.
It's okay. It's okay.
I might go cry a little bit. 5 episodes a week. That is amazing. That is my dream job right there. 5 episodes a week. I wish I could make it a job. Anyway.
I wish I could get that huge sponsor so I wouldn't have to do all the other jobs.
Yeah, exactly. So people out there who are listening who make millions of dollars, and that's why you're listening to this small podcast, because we're amazing. Reach out to both myself and Rich and sponsor both of our podcasts so we can just keep doing it every single day forever and ever.
That's right. Lift us up so we can lift others.
Yes. See, I got you.
See, thank you.
Welcome. So thank you again so much for being on the show.
No problem.
It was so much fun. I had lots of good laughs, but we talked about some very serious topics.
Yes, we did.
Do you have any last words to say before we say goodbye?
Randy, thank you for having me, and audience, continue to stack victories every day. Every day you're going to have a shortcoming. Don't let that ruin your life. Keep moving forward and count the things you do right every day and stack them every day. Stack those victories.
Good words to end with.
As always, thank you so much for the amazing guests that we have on the show. Be sure to check out their links down in the description below. If you want to support the channel, go ahead and check out our merch store. We've got some very cool things on there. That's my favorite. Sorry, I'm busy ending the stigma. But there's some other very cool designs. 10% of the proceeds always goes back to the Canadian Mental Health Association. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at RB Media because we have some great new shows coming up and you never want to miss any of those episodes. And remember, the only way to end the stigma of mental health is to speak openly and honestly.